Thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 8 of the Everyday Tonics podcast.
Take control of your health. This is Everyday Tonics.
Welcome back, beauties. So for this episode, I'm going to be explaining to you the philosophy behind everything and the importance of understanding why your hips and your psoas could be your number one pain and cause of suffering for your health and fitness. But if you really want to take action and invest in your growth and health, you need to buy the book that I'm going to put in the description, because this is what I bought and I use as a guide that changed my psoas. And it's been 6 months now, and it's changed my life immensely. I wouldn't make an episode about it if it didn't. And just a warning, the book is only $10. Like, people pay me $80 an hour to work on them for massage, and it takes me multiple sessions to do the same work that they can do at home for 10 minutes a day for a few weeks straight. So if you're willing to take this serious, like, this is the best deal. You know, you have to invest in something for you to commit to something. And I think too that this course, when you buy it from this instructor, it comes with 2 other free books, like how to unlock your hamstrings and an anti-inflammation diet. I haven't read them because I didn't care about that. I just cared about the psoas because it's so important. And I think there's other upsells when you buy this book, but you don't have to buy that shit. Just buy this, the $10, or you can buy the physical book for $15 and I think $7 shipping if you like a physical book. But it is worth it, trust me, because these principles will not change. If you can get these 10 routines down to 10 minutes a day and do it every day, and you're consistent, you will thank me. Trust me, it changed my life because I had a lot of emotional baggage that was stored. And when I was able to release that, I was able to do things that I couldn't do before. Like, I can dance now, I can move better. My confidence is better, my posture is better. I started playing basketball again a few months ago because I released my psoas, because you know, you're just more in a more joyful and creative state when you're not stressed out all the time physically, you know? And I'm not exaggerating when I say this can be one of the biggest unlocks for your physical and emotional health. Now, when I talk about hip flexors, there's multiple groups of muscles that have to do with the hip, but the main hip flexor is the psoas. And the psoas is cool because it's one of the longest muscles in the body, and it's actually the only muscle that connects your lower and upper body. And that alone is amazing, because without the psoas muscle connecting your spine to your legs, you wouldn't even be able to stand straight. So for that reason, the psoas is super important for your balance, for your ability to sit, stand, twist, you know, to reach for things, to bend, to walk, anything pretty much where you're moving your torso. And muscles in the body, it's so important to have them in a healthy state, because I've been massaging for 5 years now, and I've adjusted so many people and fixed so many people's bodies, and it's only from working on their muscles and their joints and range of motion, because your muscles pull on your bones. So if you fix your muscles, then everything naturally over time corrects itself. And now that's just the physical component of the psoas, and that's just scratching the surface, but we're going to go really deep into how your psoas affects your emotional health and well-being. Now, I'm just going to share a quick story about when I realized how messed up my psoas was and the pain and the struggle it was to work through that. And I'm still working through it, but it's nothing like what it used to be. So I have a bird's chest naturally, just genetically. So my chest sticks out a little more than the average person, my rib cage. So that means my diaphragm is usually tighter because it's not in a relaxed position. It's pulling on a lot of my muscles. And the muscle that it pulls on the most is the psoas. So for me, this is a huge discovery, because the psoas is directly connected to your diaphragm through all your connective tissue, your fascia. And if you don't know what fascia is the tissue that connects everything in the body. When you stretch, you're stretching a lot of your fascia. It's like the saran wrap of the body. It goes in between every muscle group and every muscle fiber and every joint. Think of like that stretchy skin that's on a chicken. That's the fascia. That's the connective tissue that's everywhere. It's not a muscle per se, but the consistency of your fascia will control how compact your muscles are and how contained they are in areas. Because if you have tight fascia, then everything else tightens up, especially your joints. And because it's directly connected to our diaphragm, having a tight psoas will affect your breath and your capacity to feel fear. Now, what does that mean, your capacity to feel fear? Well, a lot of our stress and emotion is held in our stomach. A tight stomach, especially on your lower spine, stimulates your sympathetic nervous system. That's where most of your nerves are for your sympathetic nervous system on your lower spine. And sympathetic nervous system, we know that's the fight or flight part. That is opposite of the parasympathetic, which is more relaxing and stress-free. And it's an important nervous system function. Like, we need it to survive in states of stress. It's good. But if your psoas is chronically tight, you're constantly signaling your body that's in a fight or flight situation unconsciously. And something that I want you guys to understand, and I've talked about this before, especially with the last episode with Tyrone, is that every person is unique, but there are things about us that are not unique and that is universal. For example, we all have tongues, we all have biceps, we all have glutes, we can taste, we can touch. So going in that vein, something that is not unique to everyone is that, in my opinion, is that the hips are the most important region of the body, undoubtedly. From my experience working on probably close to 2,000 bodies now for massage, is that our body cannot function perfectly if our hips are imperfect. It's as simple as that. Our hips impact everything else our body tries to do. You can manage certain things with a broken extremity, like a broken finger or, a broken wrist, whatever, but it's impossible to even sit or stand if you have a broken hip or a torn hip flexor. So the hips contain all of life's movement and ultimately all of your power. And because of the emotional effect it has on us, it's the seat of our soul. And I'm not going to get too much into the anatomy of it because it's kind of hard to do it on a podcast without showing pictures and such. But to break it down quickly, the hip consists of 4 muscle groups. The gluteal group, which is your glutes, the backside, the lateral rotator group, the abductor and adductor, and the iliopsoas, which is the iliacus muscle, which is inside of your hip bone, and your psoas. And even though they're all important, the iliopsoas has the most responsibility for the hip. And the psoas actually consists of 2 muscles, the psoas major and the psoas minor, but the psoas minor, the effect of it is minimal, and it's a really weak mover. The major is what we're going to be talking about mainly. The thing that sucks the most is that when your psoas has been chronically shortened, unfortunate conditions occur, and inevitably other muscle groups become involved and start compensating because you have a weak psoas and your weak hip. And that makes your hips begin to tilt forward and cause your quads and upper thigh muscles to overdevelop and lead to low back pain and knee pain because your hips are tilted forward, so your low back is tweaking. So one of the biggest culprits for psoas tightness is excessive sitting. And there was a study, I'm just reading this, but take it with a grain of salt. You can do more research if you want, but it said sitting can be as dangerous as smoking. Excessive sitting makes you more likely to die at an early age than smoking, which is crazy because it does things like stop your blood flow and pretty much chronically shorten a lot of your muscle groups, which is going to F up your body. And believe it or not, the gym won't alleviate this much because if you're doing too much flexion of the hip with core workouts and you're not doing a full protocol with range of motion and stretching, you can actually do more harm and cause it to be tighter. So all in all, most of today's population lives in a vicious cycle that creates a persistence of a tight psoas. And standing desks are really good, but it won't fix the problem after years of damage to your psoas. Trust me, you have to be using an exercise guide like the one that's in this book to release your psoas and be free, essentially. You need to take action to correct the imbalances that are in your hip. Now, some other things that your psoas affects, one is your sex life. Sex is movement, And when you're in a tight state, you're in a state of panic. And panic and sex, they don't go good together. Plus, tight muscles decrease blood flow and circulation. You're not going to get as much hormones going. And if you don't like moving because you're so tight and such, sex isn't going to be fun for you, It's going to be boring. So like I said, it's a vicious cycle that creates roadblocks of emotional and physical stress, which forces your brain to continue to send warning signals to all the systems in your body, including your reproductive system, your organ systems, that it's in fight or flight mode. Now think about this. Tight hips can actually make you fatter as well, because when you're in fight or flight mode, your body is storing more calories as fat Plus, the constant stress is overwhelming your adrenal glands, and you can exhaust your adrenal glands. A lot of people have adrenal fatigue, and this could be one major symptom for adrenal fatigue. And your adrenal glands govern your stress response by secreting hormones to elevate or lower your stress, and is important for several functions in your body. And overworked adrenals means your body prepares for disaster by storing more fat and calories. So there's one big aspect to this, which is the workout routine. Everything else I've been talking about is just the philosophy and why you need to take this seriously. But I can't really show you the workout routine on my podcast, so I can do the next big thing, which is recommend you the book that I read that taught me everything, pretty much changed my life, and taught me the steps I needed to take. Because it's not just static stretching, it's not just range of motion, it's not just mobility, it's not just muscle activation. You need to do all of these components of dynamic movement to get your hips healthy. Because we're weaker in certain areas, so we need to tackle it in certain ways. So that's the end of this episode. Like I said, in the description is the book that I use that has the exercises and guides for you to take control of your health, to really fix your psoas. Because I can't physically go there and show you what to do. You have to read this and do it yourself. And I wouldn't recommend something to you guys that I don't physically use. Like I printed out the whole entire PDF, 60 pages, and this is the program I followed for 6 months. And it made a huge impact. So if you're willing to make serious change in your life, commit, and then let me know how it goes. So that's the end of this episode. Till next time. I have some other cool things lined up. I want to talk about fermentations and probiotics because that's what some of you guys are interested in. So till next time, peace out, beauties.
This is Everyday Tonics.